I remember one of my clients was very excited about trying to monetize it for the consumer, where the consumer can say, hey, I have all this data and I'm willing to sell it to companies. That seems unlikely to get off the ground to me because I think that the data that's truly valuable are the people who wouldn't care about the incremental value that they would get for their data. And the only people who would care about it would be the ones that don't have a lot of money who wouldn't be interesting from a marketing perspective. But is that too simplistic of a way to view that kind of environment?
I think so. What I learned fiddling around with emerging technologies is that emerging technologies themselves, for the most part, are not innovative, right? Like it really what causes the explosion is how somebody creates a business model that sits on top of that technology, right? So to me, like an analogy would be the internet. Like the internet itself was this cool thing, right? But the internet became really valuable when people figured out how to run business models on it, right? The underlying technology was a communication network, right? But when people realized they could really leverage the internet to have innovative business models, that's when it exploded. Blockchain is the same way, right? Blockchain is a cool technology, but the reality of blockchain is that blockchain's pre-existing technologies mashed together to do something, right? And the application of Bitcoin, right, was the application that had value, which was an innovative business model, right? Not the underlying technology, right? Now, maybe mashing the technologies together was an innovative idea. It was, right? But the reality is distributed computing has been around forever. Cryptography has been around forever, right? So a lot of the core concepts of blockchain were there, right? What caused blockchain to pop into the world's consciousness is that somebody said, hey, I have these different technologies. I'm going to mash them together. And I actually have a use case that makes sense. Digital currency, right? Bang. That was innovation, right? And so taking it back to like Manitou and your question, right? We're laying the infrastructure, right? What we're not is we don't want to become the man, right? We don't ever have access to the data. So what we want to do is say, look, we're going to give you a safe place to play, right? Where your data is super secure. You are providing transparency to the people who care about their personal data, the endpoint. So what Manitou, I hope happens is that people look at the infrastructure that we're building and they start to leverage that in ways that Manitou is not best suited to figure out, right? And to go to your example, right? Do I think that consumers in near term are going to be able to say, look, I'm locking down all my personal information and you're going to have to come to me to use it? I don't think so, right? But do I think that somebody could come along and say, I make $5 on an anonymized profile, right? Because I don't have the permission to actually share the details, right? But I know if I share the details, I'm going to get paid $500. So why shouldn't I go to this person who I know he's my customer and say to that person, hey, look, I'm doing a research project, right? This is how I'm using your data, right? Would you consent to me actually sharing more of your data than I currently am able to do? And I will pay you, right? Because I'm now getting paid $500. I will pay you 250 of the $500 to participate for a short period of time. And Manitou's platform allows you to set a time limit. So when that time ends, they cannot decrypt that data. The key goes away, right? And so you're starting to create an environment potentially where the data subject, right, starts to participate in value creation.